Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Umineko. We're back here with Shannon and Beatrice talking about how, she might be able to get what she's wanting out of this whole thing. Using her fancy magic, though I'm sure that isn't going to be nearly as straightforward as we're talking about. One thing I wanted to quickly pull up, that, water droplet sound I heard last time I came back and I didn't know what it was for. It was actually adding Beatrice back to the character chart, because Beatrice wasn't on the character chart before this, within this section of the story. But it's the same thing that was on there before. So that's there, and then let me fix the text window before I forget, and let's continue.
お前がその心を虜にする男と結ばれるように取り計らってもいいと言っている。わらわの肖像画を日々丹念に磨いてくれたことへの礼とでも思うがよい。安心せよ。対価は求めぬ。
Absolutely nothing. There'll be no strings attached or anything.
わらわは気前がよい。だがな、対価は求めぬが頼みがある。
This is where it's gonna get interesting, I'm sure. This request here. Look, here it comes. Part of Shannon's heart sent her a warning. This is what all those scary picture books she had read about when she was little had warned her about.
この島のすぐ近くの海に岩が覗き、そこに小さな鳥居と祠が設けてあるのを知っているか?
Shannon immediately remembered it. When you reached Rokenjima by boat, there was a torii and a shrine in a reef which was too small to even be called an in learning new words here every day. Islet, that's how you say that. I have a feeling that Kumasawa-san told me its history, but I can't remember well. A traveling mountaineer, new word there too, ascetic or something, had built it or wished it something. Wished it or something.
知っていますが、それが何か。
魔に通じぬものに一から説明はせぬ。早い話がだな。あれには参っておるのだ。
Okay, this is interesting. Is this story taking place before the family conference, perhaps? And that's why whenever we saw the, whenever we were coming in, I think they said something about how the torii or whatever it was, I can't remember exactly, but it was like gone. Is that what this is about, perhaps? And that's what allowed Beatrice to actually go and do everything?
実はな、あの祠の中にそれをそなたに割ってほしいというのだ。
That was a very suspicious request. She didn't know the details, but anything that might be stored inside the shrine would have to be something sacred. She wants me to break that? Why would a witch be unable to do that herself, forcing a human for help? There was no need for Shannon to speak her thoughts aloud. Beatrice started talking about this reasonable request before Shannon could give her answer.
あの鏡の魔力はわらわの魔力と相対する。人の言葉でうまく説明できぬな。例えれば食器の違いとでも。
I know what utensils are, yeah.
あの鏡はフォークで、わらわの力はスープなのだ。
Yes.
フォークでスープは飲めまい?
I mean,
あの鏡の押し付けさえなければ、わらわはスープを飲むのにぴったりのスプーンが用意できるというわけだ。
spoon!
それさえあれば、スープも飲めるし、岩ろうだって振り
Back to
抜
that
ける。
spoon thing again, yeah. Didn't Beatrice say something about a spoon? In the tea party, didn't she? I think. No, that was Bernkastel. I think, if I said that right. Bernkastel, yeah. She said something about how her power could be like a spoon and you could either use it to go through your, like, miserable life or you could use it to dig out of a rocky prison. That's an interesting parallel there. What? I don't know, this is reeking of evil right here.
何の話かわかりません。 私の無教養のせいだとしたら謝ります。
こういうことだ。あの忌々しい鏡をわらわのために割る手間をかけてくれたなら、その褒美としてそなたの願いを叶えてやるということだ。今日のわらわは本当に機嫌がいい。そなたが望むなら願い事を変えて金蔵に授けた黄金を丸ごとくれてやることにしてもよいぞ。
That's interesting.
お断りします。
Now we know eventually she does in fact go along with it, but I wonder what the sequence of events happening until then will be.
なんと。
When she heard Shannon's words, Beatrice realized for the first time that her expectations had been betrayed.
理由があれば聞かせよ。誤解があるなら解こうぞ。
理由なんてよくでも、今日までこの島は平和で何も起こりませんでした。なら鏡を割らなくても今日までと同じ平和がこれからも続いていくはずです。
なるほどなるほど。それはもっともだな。そなたの言う通りだ。あれを割らぬなら割れぬ今日までと同じ日々が明日わらわが絶対の保証をしようではないか。ベアトリーチェの名にかけて言う。割れぬ今日までと同じ日々が明日も明後日も続こうぞ。それは永久に永遠に。
Sorry, hold on. Trying to listen to the music. Very unsettling because it's actually quite quiet. Shannon was trapped by a creepy hallucination. The mirror was probably something to restrain the witch. So, breaking the mirror should have been something done for the witch's sake. But it felt as though Shannon had to do it for her own sake. It seemed like some premise had been switched.
わらわはあくまでも褒美としてそなたに思いを成就する機会を与えたに過ぎぬ。割ろうが割るまいがそなたの自由だ。割ればわらわはそなたの願いを叶える。割らねば今日までの明日が永遠に続く。
So we're gonna have like a Groundhog Day thing going on? You know, it's funny because I think she just manipulated Shannon, if you think about it, or she's trying to anyway, because it started off sounding a whole lot like she sounded like a car salesman, honestly. It started off sounding like she was saying, you know, for free, I'm gonna give you this wish you want. And she's like, oh, I just have a little request. And then, you know, do this for me. And now it's sounding like if you want your thing done, you gotta do my thing.
そなたの願いは永遠に叶うことはない。
Very car salesman-like.
わかるか？何を言っているか。
The witch spoke. She was pressing Shannon, saying that if she wanted to be joined with George, break the mirror. And she was announcing that if Shannon didn't break it, then her feelings would never be fulfilled.
やめてください。そんなの聞きたくない。
そなたを苦しめたかったわけではないのだがな。まあいい。愛に苦しさを感じるも人間の醍醐味よ。その感情を存分に楽しむがよい。だが我が力を借りたいと願ったならいつでもあの鏡を割るがよい。そして我が名を叫び呼び覚ますがよい。わらわは必ず約束を守るだろう。これならば文句はあるまい。そなたに今すぐの決断を迫るわけではない。気楽であろう。
in the end, was that something she was comfortable with? Definitely not. To Shannon, who was burning with and worried by love, being tempted forever with a way to escape that path was truly a cruel test.
この約束に期限は設けぬ。願いを叶える魔法には期限がある。
Now, I mentioned Groundhog Day because she said the tomorrows are going to continue forever. Is that just her saying that? Is that just her way of trying to say that she'll never be with George if she doesn't, or is she literally meaning that I'm going to repeat tomorrow forever? Let's see. Yeah.
その期限はわらわが決めるのではない。そなたの思い人が自ら決める。意味がわかるか？
That means he's going to find a girl, and it's not going to be you.
そなたの思い人が愛のちぎりを結ぶべき相手を決めた時がその期限となる。わらわは魔女だが鬼ではない。互いを愛し合う二人を引き裂く魔法は持ち合わせていないのでな。そなたの思い人は近いうちに見合いに臨むそうだな。そなたは世界で一番その男のことを思っているかもしれん。だが世界で一番ふさわしいとは限らんぞ。わらわは見合いの相手を知っている。その娘は世界で一番後宮ジョージにふさわしい。良い学校を出て良い成績を残し落ち着きがあって思慮深い。お前より美しく、お前より聡明で、お前よりふさわしい。
Wow, talk about bringing someone down.
お前のような無知無能無教養の娘がどうしてふさわしかろうか。お前が一番知っている。お前が一番ふさわしくない。
How Beatrice, you tone down the meanness a
お
bit.
前と後宮ジョージが結ばれるなど想像するだけでも罪深い。
Just like Eva said. Now I'm
愚
wondering.
かしい愚かしい身の程知れい。
That's just like Eva said. Now I'm wondering. I think she's trying to pull up maybe something Eva said to try to make her think here, but at the same time, is she trying to? I think she's trying to pressure her into breaking the mirror even more now, because she's like, you know, if you don't do this, you'll never be with him, because you're so unsuitable. But with my magic, you can, or something like that, right?
教育に行かせてもらった恩も忘れて身の程を知りなさい。ジョージがお父様の血を引く孫の中では嫡男に当たるのよ。ひょっとしたら未来の後宮家を背負うことになるかもしれない人。その期待に応えるためにたくさんの勉強を重ねて素晴らしい大学に入り素晴らしい成績を残しているわ。そんなジョージと無能無資格無教養な使用人風情が釣り合うと
She even has that same tone of voice that Eva has. Wow. Talk about rude.
やめろ。シャノンをいじめるな。貴様は誰だ。
At that time, as Shannon held her head, trying to protect her heart from the blade of Beatrice's words, Cannon ran in front of her. Cannon didn't care who this woman was. As long as he knew that she was an enemy that was tormenting Shannon, who he loved and respected as a sister, nothing else mattered.
カノン君、下がって。この方は。
It seemed that Cannon also realized that the being standing before him was the witch of the portrait, and also that she was a terrifying being.
シャノンに褒美を取らせたかっただけだが、わらわの言葉が過ぎ、いじめてしまったようだな。それは謝ろう。だが、 先わらわの力が必要ならばいつでも呼び出すといい。その方法はすでに教えた。ではこれにて今宵は退散しよう。敵意の眼差しは心地よくあるが美容にはちと悪いのでな。
ケロ、お前が何者か知らないが、お前はシャノンを脅かしている。二度と現れるな。
It seemed that Cannon's words made the witch horribly displeased.
言葉を選ばぬか下船め。わらわは敬う者に寛大だが敬わぬ者には残酷であるぞ。
While she still smiled, the witch's face began to twist itself. And there was an oppressive feeling that couldn't be noticed with any of the five senses, which gradually filled the room. Even though they couldn't understand it, they immediately realized that it was something terrifying. When you swim in the ocean and something large goes by in the water beneath you, you want to escape to land before you even learn what it is. This was the same as that.
おやめください、ベアトリーチェ様。カノン君はまだ子供なんです。言葉遣いについては謝ります。
Cannon blocked the way to Shannon, his body outstretched. There was tense sweat on his forehead. At that time, the witch certainly had Cannon's fate in the palm of her hand. She didn't even need to lift a finger. By just twisting her own smile, she had Cannon's fate in the palm of her hand so that she could easily crush it. Cannon also understood that, so he had started sweating. His knees felt weak. However, Beatrice abruptly released that feeling of tension and laughed.
よかろう。そなたが求めるなら特別に許そう。カノンとやら彼女に免じて今宵は許して使わす。感謝するがよいぞ。さて今宵はこれで退散する。別れの挨拶に一つ土産を残そう。二人とも左手の手のひらをこちらへかざせ。
When Beatrice grinned broadly and snapped her fingers, against their will, their left hand stretched out in front of them, and their palms opened. It was a strange sensation, as though only their left hands had become someone else's. It felt like only their left hands had become puppets, which were being pulled by strings hanging down from the ceiling. Cannon resisted, but he couldn't freely bring his hand back.
騒ぐな。すぐに済む。
When Beatrice held her pipe aloft, from inside the smoke, gold-colored sparkling dust hovered in the air. Ooh. That sparkle eventually became several gold butterflies. The beautiful butterflies danced freely throughout the reception hall, creating a fantastical and beautiful world. And two of those butterflies alighted on the palms of Shannon's and Cannon's hands. There was a sharp pain, as though they had been burned. When the two of them tried to examine their palms, there was no trace left of that inability to move their bodies, which had been there until a second ago. On the palm of her hand, a small burn mark had been made, the size of a speck. Furthermore, it was shaped like a butterfly. Is it a tattoo? Apparently, Cannon had the same bruise on his hand. He stared at the witch hatefully.
単なる挨拶よ。他意はない。ただのあざに過ぎぬから、ほんの真実で言えよ。手当ても必要ない。それはわらわが確かに今日ここにあり、そなたと約束を交わしたことを明日に忘れさせぬための印だ。わらわとの出会いは刺激が強い。 翌朝にわらわとの出会いを夢か幻と思い込み忘れようとする人間も時にはいるのでな。ゆっくり考えるがいいぞ、シャン。そしてゆっくりと休み、明日の朝日に我が印を見て改めて考えてみるがいいだろう。わらわは何も強要せぬ。そなたが自らの意志で自由に未来を決めるがいい。もっとも欲する者の対価がその程度で済むとはな。貴恋をテーマに戯曲を書き上げた偉人たちが悔しがるぞ。それでは縁があったらまた会おう。久しぶりの会話は実に楽しかったぞ。さらばだ。
Being a voice actor is fun. Beatrice's body crumbled like smoke and blew away. It was golden smoke. No, a group of gold butterflies. They scattered in all directions inside their reception hall, leaving a golden splash before disappearing into thin air. After that, only the cold silence was left. The extreme silence was enough to make them both think that they had been daydreaming until just a moment ago. Which is why the witch had left it. She'd left a mark to make it impossible for them to think that this was a daydream. As Shannon and Cannon thought back on the butterfly bruises on their hands, and the pain they had felt when those had been left there, they kept standing still, in shock. And from that day on, Shannon was tormented by days of suffering and conflict. Interesting. I'm liking this. Like, I understand that the first chapter is important for setting up the story and everything. But man, was it boring to start. And this one actually started pretty quickly and fun. And with that being said, now that we've ended that section, I think we're going to stop off here for today. That was fun. I liked that. I actually deeply enjoyed that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and next time we'll come back with more Umineko, where we see what Jessica's at. Bye!